and it's all positive.
Okay, he's getting ready. You guys ready?
Yep.
Okay, and where do we look? Oh. Good morning. I'm Molly Crusen Bishop, and I now host a radio show called Tales from the Whiskey City. I'm a storyteller, story keeper, and I'm here today with two good friends who I brought with me to help tell some good stories and plant some good seeds and gardens on some awesome things going on in Peoria. I'm here with John Fuller.
Yes.
And Rob Hanauer.
Hi.
And I'm going to start. My name is Molly Crusen Bishop, and I'm a lifelong Peorian. I'm 45. I grew up on the West Bluff in the house my great-grandparents built in 1883 on Barker. And my family's footprints in Peoria in the working class world go back to the 1860s, from the coal mines to the Rock Island Railroad to the glucose refining company, which would have dealt with distilleries and things like that. And I'm also the hall manager for the Grand Army of the Republic Hall on 416 Hamilton. And I do the rentals and tours there. And I also I've done 2 Whiskey Baron runs to help promote downtown Peoria, history, and the building, which was dedicated to Peoria Civil War veterans in 1909. So now that I've introduced myself, I'm going to pass it along to John and then to Rob to kind of start the conversation going on some awesome, amazing things going on in the heart of the Peoria. Because I always say you have to build up the core to make everything strong.
For sure. I totally agree with that. Yeah.
So we'll start with John. Why don't you talk about some of the things we've been talking about preparing for this today?
For sure. I think I would first like to start off by giving thanks to you, Molly. I'm
Thank
glad that I
you.
met you.
Awesome.
It's very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
It's great to be back in Peoria. I've moved back to Peoria 3 times. I love this city. I love whenever I come back finding someone like yourself who is, trying to save, the landmarks that are around this place. There was so much wealth, there was so many good things that came from our past. And when you know your past, you know yourself, you know your values that are inside of you.
Very true.
You can reach out and connect with people. And I think that's what we're trying to do with you guys right now, is we just want to reach out, share our love, make peace, and build all of these good things back
Lots
up.
of gardens.
Yes, for sure. So planting the seeds, like you were saying.
Absolutely.
I'm so glad that I met you. I had met her actually because she was putting on the original Whiskey Baron run, and
He's actually the winner.
Yeah.
The overall winner.
yeah, overall winner. Yeah.
I think what was it 20 minutes 38 seconds or
Maybe
something
you're
like
right.
that.
Thank you.
5K,
I
pretty
don't know.
good.
Yeah.
And my course is pretty treacherous.
It is pretty. It is very
It's pretty and
The
it's pretty
bluffs.
treacherous.
Yeah.
I take you up Union Hill,
Yeah.
past the Green Hunt Mansion, which is one of our Whiskey Barons, which is something we're going to talk about today.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to hand it over to Rob for a
Sure.
little bit. Rob, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm Rob Hanauer. In my spare time, I lose city council elections. And
That's okay.
That's actually how we met.
That is how we
met.
We became good friends.
Yes, and I guess recently I've been trying to, get in shape, not necessarily just for the Whiskey Baron run, but I've spent 10 years after college getting my body out of shape, so I'm trying to lose weight and run. And I've actually been running around the community, and the trail here in Peoria that connects all the way out to Bradford, Illinois, all the way to Morton, if you really want to go
Trail
across
is
the river. The Rock Island Trail and all the connections,
Yeah.
great.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
You could run different segments of that and never get tired
And
of
it's
the
brand
scenery.
new. I just ran a new section 2 nights ago, and it was very beautiful. It was a little daunting because when you get to the Alta, that's where I usually go, and then I turned right,
same,
and I went through the tunnel, and I'm like, this is a little scary.
I love the tunnel.
But I
it
heard
has
an
the
owl.
light now. Yeah, there's lights in this tunnel now. And so that's what's awesome about Peoria is there's so much growing in it. You know what I'm saying? It's like we had this trail, we took this history, and then, we lost that portion, but guess what? Then we turned it into something beautiful. We have a trail. well. It has lights in it.
Absolutely.
And, let's shine those lights
And
on
then,
this.
and we're a race heavy town, but that's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
That's a good thing, because when you're up and either trying to run the 5K, trying to walk along the riverfront, you're helping your health, which is helping the core of our community.
Yeah, we have another race coming up. I think the Whiskey Daddle is coming to Peoria
In October.
Yeah,
Yes.
And there are
so-
relays in the race
there's
and
all
everything.
different kinds of aspects to that, and bringing different age groups together. So that'll be another good thing, sense of life on the riverfront. Which I'm going to backtrack a little bit.
Yeah.
When I was in high school down here, I went to Spalding, and it did not have the feel that I'm starting to feel now.
Yeah.
So now that I'm at the age that I'm at now, I'm starting to see all kinds of things and new development. And it really feels like it almost started about a year ago, but that it's catching on. I call it a boomerang emotional magnet. You throw something out there, and then it's going to attach that stuff back to it. And that's what I feel happening downtown Peoria.
Totally.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about some of the things downtown?
Well,
that are going on?
I've heard a lot of good things. I haven't been able. I had hernia surgery and some complications from that, so I haven't been able to be as physically active as I want. I'm trying to lose the weight through dieting, but I've heard very good things from several people on Facebook and other social media sites. The bicycles that the city has now that you can rent
Amazing.
for
Yes.
next to nothing in terms of cost, and ride them for quite a bit of
awesome.
distance on the the river trail, all the way down to what the runners around here call Goose Poop Loop, about a mile.
Never
and
heard
a
that
half-
before, but
yeah,
hey.
about a mile and a half down towards
trail?
Abington Road.
Abington, okay.
There's a loop there you can turn around if you're running from, say, the Gateway building. I
Okay.
know people use that trail with the
Yeah.
bikes, and they love
I
it.
definitely do. The Rock Island Trail, one day I was just running on a Sunday with my buddy, who also takes me to a hill that we named Honker Hill. That's out by Charter Oak because of all the geese and the poop. But
Lovely.
yeah, they honk at us and they give us their energy. So, but yeah, those bikes are awesome. I actually live up by Bradley Park. I just moved back into my old Uplands, community up on the West Bluff, the walkable West Bluff. Those are more things that are growing in town.
Absolutely.
Greenway projects, all of these sidewalks, the planners. They're painting on all of these sewer systems. We're bringing education and vibrance and art, and people are using those because I have my home open to the community. I call it the Whiskey Baron Airbnb, and I always share with everyone who's coming. I hope he doesn't mind me saying this, but my guest today is actually becoming an American. He's becoming an American city. Yes.
Awesome.
And I love when people come here. There's always so many good stories, whether it's a Bradley guy, helping hook up all of the communications or the lights and showing the arts in the community, or somebody, at Cornstalk or whatever it is. And then the city, since I've moved here back, this third time, they put those bikes in. And now I get
incredible.
now I get to share more of this park. It's like the park has the free disc golf. It has the tennis courts. It's like a little country club right in the middle of the city.
It is.
And Bradley just gave all these things to us. You know what I'm saying? And we have.
The history of Bradley goes so back to the early development of the European settlers here in the 1800s. Right. And Lydia Moss Bradley was I've facilitated an Ollie session about her. I've written articles about her, and I grew up living near everything that she helped create. And she was such a forward-thinking person. And that's what I'm seeking to do with the show and do with the different things that I write, is forward-thinking, planting gardens, and attaching to the things like the bikes and the race. And everything that's here.
Well, and you just alluded to something.
Yeah.
I'm an attorney in town.
Yeah.
And I was in court today, and on the way to court, I had somebody ask me how to get to the Civic Center.
Yes.
And I had somebody in court, getting ready to go into traffic court, asking how to get to the Civic Center, and they were going to gain their citizenship, just like the
Isn't
person
that
who was living with you. I'm glad I was able to steer the gentleman out of traffic court so that he could get to
And where he needed to go.
getting his citizenship. Much more important matter. But I've gone to a few programs where people gain their citizenship. There's nothing like a new start and a progressive start than watching something like that. People from all over the world who come to Peoria.
Absolutely.
And it's happened in the federal courthouses and apparently at the Civic Center, and they come here and they get citizenship and are able to start a new life. It's a beautiful
thing because they love and don't take for granted all the stuff that we kind of have taken for granted maybe as a culture or a society. So it's really neat. They have to earn it. They have to take these tests and they have to make a pledge. And Peoria really is. It kind of feels like a melting pot right now.
Oh yeah.
There's almost 10,000 Hispanic people in Peoria. Well, that is crazy. Wild and good. They're all over different sections of Peoria, and they're just bringing so much new culture and life, and it's just nice.
And the Hispanic community, the growth of the Hispanic community that I've noticed in the last 6 or 7 years. I graduated law school back in 2011 with some of my best friends were Hispanic, and I asked them, well, why don't you think about coming and practicing law in Peoria? And their response was always, there aren't enough people in the Hispanic community to have a business. But now there are a lot of immigration issues coming up and a lot of issues that need Hispanic lawyers. And I know of one in particular who's giving significant thought to opening up an office in Peoria and moving here.
Isn't that amazing?
And then we have high wage earners and people that can spend money and promote the economy and help satisfy a need that a segment of the Peoria society has.
And a segment of Peoria that's growing rapidly.
It is.
And that goes with the down on the riverfront and some of the warehouse things, which are just amazing. Talk about breathing new life and renewal and repurpose down here in the heart of our city. There's what's the something with the Hispanic
the market that's
the
downtown.
market. I don't know the name of it.
I just came back and
what's the name of it?
I have it actually written down in my book to go meet with them because I'm very excited.
No, begins with a T, but it's like it's down near Adams Street and down near the
I know so when you go up from Washington to Adams, it's before you would get to like Maple and the Persimmon Lofts, before you would get going that far, it's right there on that corner. But I can't remember. But I know that and the guy who's getting his citizenship today, he came from Mexico, and he traveled from far away. Like we were just saying, they're coming to Peoria, to the Civic Center. He came all the way from New Jersey, you know what I'm saying? And it's like people are traveling all the way here.
Come here. So it's that magnet. When enough people of like minds put their thoughts together in a positive direction, man, there's nothing that you can't improve. And Peoria is not unlike any other city. It needs some work, but man, we're watching it blossom before our eyes.
Yeah, it is.
What are your some favorite things down in the warehouse district? Do you know anything about Whiskey City or architectural or any of those guys?
I personally love brick roads and Oak Street and Moss Avenue.
Moss Avenue.
The roads on Oak Street. The road on Oak Street that's brick, the red road. Brick. I love it. It's
beautiful.
Yes, I went down there when I was campaigning and buying cable ad space on Comcast. I made the turn and I was just like, I've always loved brick streets, and it just takes you back in time in my mind.
It does. It makes you just feel like you're there. Like they left their footprints here.
Right. But generally everywhere. I like the art, the Beautification Commission here in Peoria, having the art throughout the warehouse district. But generally to Peoria and warehouse district and beyond, just meeting people that were passionate about things, and they could be passionate for things that I'm passionate about, passionate for other things, passionate against me, passionate for me. Just the passion, the fact that when the election happened, people focused on low voter turnout, but I thought of it as the people that were turning out all the time. They cared.
Consistency.
Exactly.
Which is what you need. You have to have quality and
Right.
consistency to really change the core.
And the fact
And to
that
plant a garden.
Right. And the fact that you have that group of people is a great start.
Absolutely.
To building from that.
Yeah, and your law firm, if you don't mind telling me about the law firm you work with and where it's located.
Yeah, I work at Cusack, Gilfillan, and O'Day.
Okay.
It's at 415 Hamilton Boulevard.
Right across the street from my building.
Right, it's the Chase Bank building. It's right across from Gar Hall. And I've been there since 2007.
Okay.
I started off running documents to other law firms and doing dishes and everything like that, and worked my way
coffee
through
cups.
law school. I did that. I still
them,
do
put 'em
that.
away.
But I did that. I do pretty much.
That's
I've
so
done
funny.
everything there. So I worked my way up to practicing law.
And the Cusacks and Gilfillans are both families. Some are I'm related by marriage and blood to some Cusacks, and then Gilfillans are with St. Mark's, West Peoria family. So
great musicians.
and I've
some
heard
of
the name Dan
smartest kids in
O'Day too.
school.
And they're I love that they're anchored in the heart of Peoria. That's really neat. And working to help some of the citizens in Peoria who need some of the most help. Certainly. Anyways, so go to Hamilton and let's go down to the riverfront.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
And then
You run right into the Gateway building.
You have the Gateway
I love
building.
the Gateway
and then
building.
so you could look at where they have to tear. Actually, they're going to have to tear the building we're in right now down
Yeah.
to build something new.
Yes.
Right.
But instead of looking at it, oh, what a big mistake. No, let's look at it like
Build the
let's
parks.
start fresh.
Yeah,
So
build
what
the
do you have to do
communities.
when you tend to a garden? The first thing you do
Yeah.
is you have to clear out all the clutter.
Yeah.
Then you have to till it, and then you have to prep the soil. And that's kind of I feel. That's how I see it as a poet. How I see what this building is going to be.
Yeah.
A park.
Yeah.
It's going to be someplace for people who live here or visit here
Well, the
to
other-
share what we have to offer here.
Yeah.
Right.
The good thing is
Good thing.
that I've
Right
heard
by the river.
And I hope that this I listen to the city and I believe it. I believe in the city.
Me too.
And I think that what we have going great right in this building in this village area is the farmers markets. You know what I'm saying?
yes.
Because you
Love
bring
the
all these
farmer
people
markets.
here. They have their artwork. They have whatever they're building with their hands.
Massages.
Yeah, it's all here.
Vicky Hibbard.
It comes here, and then I'm gonna have to throw out well needed because
Absolutely.
they offered us a job whenever we moved back from the army.
Absolutely.
Here. But when people come down here, there is life, and you're sharing what you are working on. And I think even when they tear this down, one of the people who I'd met at the market, one of my old neighbors too. The Sullivans, they helped start the Whiskey City Salvage.
Oh, Bill Sullivan.
Yeah,
yes,
Bill
yes.
Sullivan.
He's a friend of mine. He was a
Yes.
sponsor for the Whiskey Baron race this year.
And I know that there's going to be people, including him and others, that are going to be salvaging. Not that there's very much to salvage from a brand new building, but there's
they
definitely
have.
And then you can
They
you
have.
turn into art. Like look at all of the amazing sculptures that we have. Preston has put around this city. You know
Oh
what I'm
my
saying?
gosh.
And
Yeah. First of all, let me say Preston Jackson is is a national treasure.
Yeah.
And I hope everyone living here owes him the respect that he's very humble. Not that he would expect that, but just man, are we blessed to have
are.
him here.
Yeah.
And the growing the ever growing art community.
Yes.
I was in charge of facilitating several First Fridays when I first started the GAR Hall. And so I had to reach out and meet all kinds of photographers, artists, musicians, things like that. And I know that is really what can take a city when you thrive on its creativity.
it's happening.
And for me,
It's
that's like a
happening right now.
garden.
Oh,
It's
it-
like
it is.
everything's like a garden or a poem to me. Just
It's
whatever.
happening right now.
But so, what are your favorite bands? What are some bands that you guys have seen here
Oh, man,
that
there's
have
so
connections?
many.
What's your favorite one?
Well,
Wasn't there one during your election season at Big Beams? That's no longer open.
Big
but-
Beams.
Fannie Ray and the Soul Shakers are shaking
Fannie Ray
souls
and
in
the
this
Soul
city.
Shakers.
The
Okay.
Way Down Wanderers
Way
came
Down
down here
Wanderers.
underneath this riverfront, and they just blew this riverfront away. There's been, I mean, I could name all the other bands that have came here from outside of the city. You know what I'm saying? But
I guess this question was for him then.
Yeah, Stratton, Strad, they're local. They're a married couple, you know, who has played in, you know, like his wife Rosie. She's played in like the Nutcracker, and she teaches, you know, symphony and orchestra to the children. And these people, you know, they go out there, the Heritage Festival, and they show us, they teach us, they share their artwork with people. And when you do that, like when we have, like you were saying, the First Fridays.
Love those First Fridays.
They have people, and we were talking about Whiskey City Salvage. They had musicians down there playing the right up behind the Broken Tree.
Oh,
and
the Broken Tree and the Sunbeam and the Moon Dancer.
They have artists playing in there.
Have you ever been in the new Speakeasy? Talk about cool. I haven't been there yet.
I haven't either.
I have not been able to.
We'll have to go together.
Yeah,
that sounds
we'll
good.
have to do a little video.
I think I have something saved on Facebook that I'm supposed to go to. Yes.
Awesome.
For sure.
So I interviewed 3 of the guys from Whiskey City Architectural Salvage, and they have a designing company, and I always get them mixed up, but we'll just go with Whiskey City Architectural Salvage. Yeah. I interviewed Isaiah and Matt Fawn, who are brothers, friends and co-workers of Bill Sullivan, and then Hirsch. Hirsch is the designer, I think, but I could have this all mixed up, but that's okay. But anyways, 95% of the materials that they used on the inside of the new Tannin and Hops Speakeasy recycled from Peoria's old buildings, including tons and tons of the bowling lanes from Bowmore Lanes on Forest Hill and Gale.
I wondered what happened to those.
And
I saw them tear
They
them
said
down.
they had to sand them, they had to cut them each individual piece because they were too wide to use as they were, and then sand it down and then glaze them, and then I think the bar front. I think the whole bar front is made out of those bowling lanes.
Yeah. Really?
And they said 95% of that. So that, to me, is a perfect example of what you can do with something old. You know, it had its heyday as a whiskey, as one of the distilleries downtown, their warehouse building down there. And then...
well, right across the street from us, you have the Riverfront Museum.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Shows everything about the city. The Whiskey City, you can walk right down it and you can see, like the Whiskey Baron home that I live in, the Woolners, and like yours, the richest, the Green Huts.
Green Huts,
you can see all these things that were in the city, and they took this building and they recycled, and they used the community, the people who worked in here, they used their materials to build it. And that you can feel all of that stuff building in the city, you know what I'm saying?
And the city is taking on quite an endeavor in coming up with a 100% green solution to the combined sewer overflow problem. And really, that is right along the same lines when you have recycling the materials for buildings that you're taking down to use to construct new ones. It eliminates waste or reduces waste. And that's kind of something we need to be focusing on.
I actually just
100% focused on that.
Yeah.
I just bought 5 warehouses downtown, and I really hope to do what you were just saying. I didn't know if it was going to come up, but I am totally looking into get into like aquaponics and creating that sustainable, like in the city where you can grow and it can be sustainable, and then we can share that harvest and like in the
community garden.
Yes, and people can have healthy things. Like you keep talking about, well, you haven't got to have this fitness. It's so funny because actually yesterday we were just talking on the show with Ryan Kenny about CrossFit. You know what I'm saying? And getting it into the inner city, bringing it into these kids.
Like in the area down the Carver Center.
Yeah.
And
he
Proctor
started down
Center
in Manual. And anywhere that we can start getting people healthy and bringing all this vibrance and sharing that with others, they're going to be drawn anywhere from across this great nation. People are going to be drawn.
Which is attracting millennials.
Well,
I don't know. Are you a millennial?
I think my brother is. And it
you
really,
don't make it, but you can help grow them, bring them.
I think I fit into it. I'm that in between where like they have a mixed name.
I'm that in between where people older than me think I should know how to use computers and be tech savvy, and I'm not. So it falls on me, even though it's probably a few years younger than me. But it's interesting what being healthy and being active can do for you.
Oh my goodness!
The federal prison over in Pekin.
Yeah.
They had something called the Felon 50 for women who would be sentenced to the federal prison over there. They would immediately gain weight, and they typically got there because of self-confidence issues or things like that.
Yeah.
And then they put on weight which
Yeah.
compounds the confidence issues.
Yeah.
So what happened is they actually put in a really nice fitness center into the camp there. It's a
Yeah.
minimum security camp.
You're making me happy just hearing that.
Yeah, and you know, they get in shape, they build up their confidence, and it helps with recidivism and reducing recidivism
Yes.
when they get out of
Yes.
prison, so that they can become
Yes.
contributing and productive members of society.
That's what we are
That is
building here. It's
perfect.
happening here.
And that's what we need to be doing
It
at Carver
is.
Center,
Yeah.
and we are doing. And,
Yeah.
and that's kind of why I'm trying to get better. Now, I had
Me too.
Yeah.
I've been running my 5Ks 4 to 5 times a week.
You start feeling better about
Oh my
yourself?
gosh, yes.
I ended up having
Absolutely.
hernia surgery because I'm getting in better shape, and as a result of some of the medication I was taking, I had some blurry vision for the
Yes.
last week. And I'm telling you right now, when I had blurry vision, I really thought I was looking good.
Yeah.
And then my vision came back.
I would rather you have blurry vision from trying to be healthy than, having too many of the Whiskey City spirits. You know what I'm saying? So they do
so
say
funny.
they do say one of the things that I've been sharing. Especially being a drill sergeant, we have lots of injuries. With people brand new, millennials especially, we call them, the Xbox generation. They come in, they haven't ran, they haven't gotten off the couch. So we actually start off getting people in slow, you know what I'm saying, actually now at first in our kinder, gentler army. And and then we teach them also about active recovery, the old way of, Rice, resting. No, you got to have the active recovery and then use your brain, you know what I'm
Right.
saying. If it
Gotta
tells
get
you the
lactic
pain,
acid out.
gotta get that out. I was just talking about rolling with you this morning, right?
Absolutely, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So
That is so. I'm sorry. I keep thinking of you telling me when you were an Eagle Scout, and that for some reason that keeps popping up in my head.
Yes.
Now, we don't need to talk about that right now. But where does that passion and what do you see things that you as a person and where you are in the city could help with? Proctor
Well,
and different things help bring that healthiness and the gardens and the beautiful things that we want to help blossom that are already happening.
I would say that the answer is probably more general than specific.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're an Eagle Scout, you have, and I started, we were just talking beforehand, his son just signed up for Tiger
Yes.
Cubs,
Tiger Cubs.
which is
Sweet.
first graders.
Yeah.
And I started at that age, and I went all the way through, and then I crossed over the bridge into Boy Scouts, and they actually have a bridge you cross over. And I crossed over, became a Boy Scout, and went through and got to Eagle Scout on my 18th birthday. But to get to that point, you have to have the fortitude to stick with something. And
Yes.
not everybody made it.
Yes.
That entered, and some people were in it for a year, 2 years. Some people made it all the way up to Life Scout,
Yes.
which is right before Eagle, and then they just didn't make it. But I'm the kind of person who has,
Tenacious.
if I have a goal, I'm going to get there one way or another, and that's kind of where I see that helping Peoria.
Yeah.
And I'm not alone in that. There
No,
are
there's
a lot of people I've
Yeah,
met
there's
Lots of
so
us
many.
that are
that
Yeah.
are very
Yeah.
like-minded.
We're right here. We're with
Yeah.
you.
We're
man.
here. Yeah, we're here
Yeah.
because we want to promote Peoria. We want
Yeah.
people to know the good in Peoria, and there are a lot of people that want to see good things happen to Peoria, and they've got the
yes.
fortitude to stick with it
Yeah.
until we're
Yes.
there.
We've had so many championships in this city, Manual, Central, things that have just never happened in other places. I mean, the Whiskey City, obviously, we had the largest tax
Whiskey
dollars
Ca-
provided to the United States.
Helped win the Union side of the war, the Civil War.
And we host the championships, state championships
Yes,
for Illinois.
IHSA.
We host
Yeah.
cross country. We host softball championships.
Yeah.
Even national
The new
championships.
Louisville
we host
Slugger now out
basketball
there.
championships.
Yes.
The Louisville Slugger facility. I look at it as I'm driving Route 6 from my house over to like Walmart, and you look
Yeah.
to the left past Hair Nursery,
Yeah.
and you just it's phenomenal.
It
It's
is.
the second biggest of its kind in the country.
And the
I
trampoline
believe.
park that just came here, too.
Yes, out on Allen
gosh.
Road.
Out of a-
Every kid I know
old
is going there
building.
for birthday parties. You know what I'm saying?
So,
go ahead.
I hate to cut you off, but we only have a couple
Yes.
minutes left, and I want to kind of tie everything together here today. There's a reason I asked John, and there's a reason I asked Rob to kind of join me on this mission that I have as a storyteller, as a writer, radio host, because I want to uplift Peoria from the core.
I do too.
And I
Yes,
want to bring
same.
attention to all the wonderful things and entities and people and businesses that have the heart and the drive to help heal and uplift our city into the beautiful thing that it can become. And
I'm here to help you.
Absolutely.
I hope
and
that
so
my
are
warehouses
you.
have music and they have markets,
And the warehouses,
anybody who wants to
and,
come down can come. That's
and
what we
so
want to
I
do.
look forward to bringing Rob and John back again in the future in this format, and sometimes other people coming in and out as well, to help highlight in a different way than maybe has been done before on some of the other podcast shows or anything, and especially shining the light on and let's grow a garden. Let's get millennials
Plant
here.
some seeds.
Sounds
We got
great.
See what
the
happens.
housing is very affordable. Come on, people.
We have everything that you have to offer. We have affordable housing all over the city. We have one of the
Churches
best
helping people.
churches, all different kinds of churches
Community.
and mosques and the new Buddhist temple on Washington. Talk about a renewal. I mean, that my grandpa went to school there in the late 1800s at Washington. That is now, I don't know the name of it, but it's a new Buddhist temple on Moss
They got
Avenue.
the 5 points. Oh, the Moss Avenue is the Moss just brings so many people to all the
cool.
markets they have
but
up there.
even if it's not my way,
yeah.
it's cool and it has a place at our table.
Well, I think the beauty of it is that there's crossover too. You get invited into religious centers that are not necessarily. I'm a Lutheran, but the Islamic Society of Peoria is very open about inviting non-Muslims to come and enjoy and partake.
Festivals down on the riverfront. I went to their festival down on the riverfront.
And India and Hindu and we have a large Hindu community. Anyways, this will be just an awesome platform to celebrate many of the good stories to tell
Sounds
here
good.
in Peoria.
Sounds great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Yes. Thank you.
And that's
guys.
all for today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you guys.
PeoriaLife.com